What I was wanting to comment on tonight is something that I've spoken about previously in the chamber, and that's the circumstance of the salmon industry, particularly in Macquarie Harbour on the west coast of Tasmania. This is an industry that makes a significant contribution to the Tasmanian economy, the aquaculture, salmon industry in Tasmania. It's worth in excess of $1 billion to the Tasmanian economy. And a significant proportion of that is in Macquarie Harbour on the west coast. There are hundreds of jobs that are involved on the west coast, and the three businesses have been there for a considerable period of time, but one of them for decades, farming in Macquarie Harbour. The industry feels under severe threat at the moment due to a request from three environmental groups to overturn an environmental approval that was approved by Tony Burke when he was Environment Minister 11 years ago. 11 years ago. And if Minister Plibersek actually opens up this approval that was given by Mr Burke 11 years ago, it will be the first time that a project that has been running for so long has had its environmental approval reconsidered. It will be the first time since the EPBC Act came in. And this is not just a threat to the salmon industry in Tasmania. It's a threat to every other business organisation that has an environmental approval that's been put in place. Because if you don't think that organisations like the Wilderness Society and other environmental groups, those anti-everything brigade, will use this as the thin edge of the wedge, you are kidding yourself. That's exactly what they will do. And they will attempt to pry open every environmental approval that's been given, where they decide that they know better than everybody else and they should decide and should be the ones who provide the environmental licence, the social licence, to these projects and to these extraordinarily important parts of our economy to continue to go ahead. So what Minister Plibersek should do is work with the Tasmanian government on the significant plan that's been put in place by the industry, and to give credit to the government, they have contributed $2.1 million to. The Tasmanian government has contributed $2.1 million. The industry's put $4 million of its own money on the table, and through its levies, seeking another $3 million through the FRDC to support the survival of the Macquarie skate, which is what this is all about. But what should not happen? What should not happen is an environmental approval that's been in place for 11 years should not be cracked open. It should not be cracked open. The industry should be given the opportunity to work with the government and the funding that everyone's put up to resolve the issues in relation to the oxygenation of Macquarie Harbour. But the environment movement should not be given the opportunity of cracking open an environmental approval that's been given 11 years ago and put everything else on the table at risk as well.